Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Steve. It's been a minute since I've been on here with a live video, but today I'm back with the review of WWE 2K14 for the PlayStation 4. So let's get started. So this game's been out about a month and a half. I didn't do a review right off the bat because, you know, a lot of people are already doing that. I wanted to make sure that I had a review in which I was able to get the game, play it, go through different stages of it, evaluate it, and give it a thorough review. And so I guess having had it this amount of time, I feel like I'm ready to actually do that review. Now, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the actual purchase of this game, because this was a big issue for a lot of people. Now, I did not pre-order this game, purchased it in store from GameStop, and when I bought it, I also bought the accelerator kit, or the season pass rather, for $24.99, and it already had the DLC code for Sting. And so I'm thinking everything is good. I got home, I was able to input the season pass, that downloaded, and I'm going to talk about some of the features of it later, but that downloaded, but my Sting code would not work. And I got on the internet, looked up 2K, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys are still having this issue, don't even waste your time with Sony. They're going to instantly refer you to 2K. But I looked up 2K's information, called them, and it was a pretty painless process. All I had to do was laid out, you know, the details of what was going on. They responded and asked for a receipt showing proof of purchase. I did that. I made a copy of it and emailed that back to them. And it took me a little bit longer. I could have had it within a day or so, but you know, I had other things going on, so it took me several days just going back and forth with the emails. But I actually got the code, no problem, put it in, and it worked. And I must say, I can't speak for anybody else, but my experience with 2K's customer support was pretty awesome. They were quick and responsive. Anytime I sent a message to them, I had the same guy working on my case, and he would respond within an hour of any email that I sent to him. Now, so as far as this season pass, you know, it reveals a lot of things. Matter of fact, I'll go to it now and show you what's in it, because I was very, very disappointed. Alright, so this is how you get to it here, the unlockables menu, and it's very limited. And you can see, you know, across the top you get a bunch of different variations of Triple H. Now, I'm going to talk about character models later on, but you got Triple H, you've got Y2J from a while back, you've got Kane from a while back, some alternate outfits for Rob Van Dam, and one for Rey Mysterio, a couple for Big Show. You got CM Punk, and to me that looks a lot more like him. This one here looks a lot more like him than the one that they put in game for him. You got a bunch of alternate outfits for him. Where are we at here? You got a couple for John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Batista, Alberto Del Rio, Daniel Bryan, Ryback, John Laurinaitis, and then you got a couple of arenas. The arenas to me are kind of slimmed down, and you've got the NXT guys, the NXT arena, Bill DeMott, who's a trainer. You got a couple of NXT belts, Vicky Guerrero, a couple of shirts and a face mask, a couple tattoos, William Regal, Kevin Nash, The Rock, Booker T, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, John Cena's moveset, AJ Lee, Summer Rae, Paul Heyman, Triple H, and then on the bottom you've got The Shield, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton, I believe, from 2004. And that's it for your unlockables. If you're looking for, you know, superstars like 2K14 had guys like, you know, Bret Hart, Dusty Rhodes, Hulk Hogan. All of those guys were locked under the season pass. Well, here, this is it. Everything that you've seen right here, this is the entire season pass. This is what you pay $24.99 for. And they always come back and say, well, this isn't it, you know, there's more to be released later on. Well, this is weak to me starting out. And that's just my opinion. I know, you know, other people are good with it or whatever. And if you are, that's fine. But for me, I wasn't pleased with this. I mean, I was looking for some more legends to have in there. So in that regard, 2K14's season pass is far superior to this. I mean, on here they put Kevin Nash and no Scott Hall. Kind of dumb. So let's go. The next area that I wanted to talk about on here was the character models. Now, for the most part, these guys look great. I mean, as far as the motion capture and all of that type of stuff, most of them are good, but you've got some notable exceptions that just look downright terrible. And I'm just going to go in and show you a couple of them really quick. So we're going to look at, just for the heck of it here. Okay, Booker T is one that I had major issues with, because to me the character model was not the same. Another one was Shawn Michaels. Now, here's the deal with Shawn Michaels. If you use the original version of him that's in the game, it's from his SummerSlam match with Triple H, where he came out, where they had the street fight. He had the jeans and the t-shirt. That's his original attire. Now, I had major issues with both of these, and you'll see in just a second. So we're going to go ahead and go into it just to show you what I'm talking about. And it'll be evident in the intros. I'm not going to play the game. I'm just going to look at the intros here. So here's my issue with Booker T. He's got these short little T-Rex arms, and then his hair is a whole lot shorter than it actually is. And when you look at his face, you know, a lot of the wrestlers that they had on here, they're dead on when you look at them in the face. That is not Booker T. Alright, so that was my issues with him. As far as what he does in the ring, that's a totally different story. I mean, he wrestles like Booker T. It's just I had these minor gripes with the appearance. And like I said, it's minor in one regard, but then when you look at, you're paying $60 for a game, and then you tack on another $24.99 for an accelerator pack. This stuff that comes across as minor really starts to just downright piss you off when you realize you spent $85 for it. With Shawn Michaels, my only issue with him is his hair. Anybody who's followed Shawn Michaels for any length of time knows that he's, you know, he's balding. Well, on here it looks like he's got a doggone wig glued to his head. I mean, he's got so much hair in the front and in the top, it's ridiculous. Now, maybe, and I get it, you know, they're going for his appearance at that time, but when you go with him in any other outfit, his hair is still the same. It's, like I said, it sounds minor, it sounds like I'm just being nitpicky, but those were issues that I really had with the game. So there's the older version of Jericho, which, like I said, was, when you see it on screen, it's a dead ringer. And this is the new version, or basically how Jericho looks now. Alright, so here's, and again, as you see, everything else is awesome. It's spot on, you know, the lighting, the music and everything. Now when he turns around, that's Chris Jericho. When they do a close-up on him, I guess that's about the best they're gonna do as far as, okay, that's Chris Jericho. I buy that as a actual version of Chris Jericho. That's not bad. So let's fast forward to the current version of Jericho. I tell you, the arena models are excellent in here. You know, the fans are, I mean, they're interactive. The only problem with the fans is they boo fan favorites in this game, whether you know, no matter what you're doing. You can get on a nice roll, the fans are booing you, and then all of a sudden they start cheering you again. I don't get it. But anyway, here is the current version of Jericho. looks like he's got I'll wait until they show him first. Looks like he's got permanent Botox injections in his face. That does not look like Jericho at all. And to me, I mean, like I said, it's small, but when you pay $85 for a game, this type of crap adds up. Alright, my last character model that I had an issue with was not really the last, but it's the last that I'm going to talk about in this game, and I'm not going to pull them up right now because it takes more time to do it, and I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible. But my last one was Triple H. Now, as you saw on the menus, Triple H had the buzz cut, which is the way he wears his hair now. But when you use the season pass and the accelerator and unlock his alternate outfits, you can play as Triple H when he had the longer hair. The only problem is, when Triple H wore his hair long, his hair was blonde. In game, it's brown. No reason for it. Don't understand why. Now I want to move to gameplay itself. So in gameplay, the gameplay for this game is really, it's kind of a mixed bag. There's more good than bad, but some of the bad really stinks it up. I mean, the good is that, you know, the weight detection is there. You won't see, you know, somebody like Rey Mysterio suplexing the Big Show. I mean, you can see it. It's evident when guys are, you know, even in a simple match. Say, for instance, it's someone like Chris Jericho, and he goes to lift up Bray Wyatt. You can actually get the sense that it's not as easy as lifting, you know, somebody like Rey Mysterio. As far as moves and things like that in game, that's where it sort of becomes a mixed bag. You can be on a nice tear in ring, you know, executing moves, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you know, your opponent does something like gives you a knee to the stomach. You know, they reverse one of your moves and give you a knee to the stomach, and all of a sudden, that's everything that they need. I mean, that was the entire opening that they needed, and all of a sudden, they go from, you know, their stamina being in the red to getting you down to where they're hitting finishers on you. One major issue that I had is this new lockup system. This is sort of like a mini game in itself, and it's described as almost like rock, paper, scissors. So you're basically in there against the computer. Anytime you move to within a certain proximity of each other and go to lockup, you're going to go into this mini game, this lockup mini game, and you're sitting there mashing one button, the computer picks another, and whichever one trumps each other, that's who gets the move. And from there, you go into you might go into a mini game of trying, say for instance, when your first lockup, the computer wins the mini game and puts you in a headlock. Well, then you go into another mini game in which you can try and escape that headlock. And basically what it's doing is you take the control sticks and you rotate it in a circle, trying to find sort of like a hot spot. And you'll know that because on screen it'll show your rotation, and when you hit the right spot, it'll be red. You move in, click the button, and you're able to escape it. If you don't do it fast enough, the computer will go on and execute a second move. I think that's the dumbest thing. I mean, I don't need a mini game within a wrestling game. It's enough to try and remember which buttons and combos that you need to use in order to execute moves and combos and things like that. I don't need a mini game in there. Another area that I had an issue with is picking up downed opponents. Now, you execute a move and your opponent is taken off of his feet. At certain times, you cannot pick him up, and I don't know if that's depending upon where he is in the ring or what, but it's almost like you can't pick him up until he starts getting up, and it's frustrating because I remember in 2K14 you got a guy down, you could just go on and beat the snot out of him, and then you pick him up and do whatever you want to do with him. But in here it's frustrating also because that pause or that delay is all you need. So you go to pick your opponent up, and all of a sudden he's reversing your moves and executing combos on you. So that is pretty frustrating too. the next thing that I had an issue with as far as gameplay is this feature called the hot tag. Everybody knows about the hot tag. If you followed WWE for any length of time, you remember back when tag team wrestling used to be really good. You'd see your favorites in there, and there'd come a point in the match where they would just be getting the crap beat out of them. One guy would be in the ring isolated for a good 5 to 7 minutes, and you know, he'd try and get the tag. A couple times he would legitimately get the tag, but you know, the heels would have the referee distracted so the ref wouldn't see it and wouldn't allow. Well, anyway, you get the idea. In this game, the hot tag doesn't work as simply as it does in real life. The hot tag, I mean, you're beating your opponent out of the blue, and all of a sudden you see him start crawling around on the floor. If you don't jump in there and stop him out of nowhere, you know, you got a good streak going, out of nowhere he will crawl from wherever he is in the ring. He can be in your corner. The computer will, or the game will automatically go into an animation where he hits the tag, his partner comes in, punches you, runs over and knocks your partner off the apron, and it goes on from there. So in that regard, I don't like the hot tag because it's not realistic. A hot tag, you know, it usually happens with, you know, one team has been, like I said, one team has been having their way with one member, and all of a sudden they make a mistake. In this game, you don't give an opportunity to make a mistake. They just, you know, your guy, they just don't give you a chance to make that mistake. It's when they get ready to do it, they're going to do it. And the best way that I found to stop the hot tag is when you see your opponent beginning to crawl across the ring out of nowhere, jump in front of them and either bash him in the head or kick him or do something, but make him stop crawling. Otherwise, you're going to experience frustration from the hot tag. My other thing that I don't like, I absolutely hate as far as gameplay, is the fact that the referee is never, I say again, never in position to make a count. Now, I've been playing a lot of tag team matches, and you know, just since I've had this game, the Usos have really become a favorite of mine. If you've seen my channel, you know I've uploaded a lot of finishes from matches that I've had with them. But no matter what you do, whether it's a tag match, a singles match, or whatever, the referee is never in position to make a 3 count. And when he does, I mean, you've got your opponent pinned. He's actually pinned a good 1.5 to 2 seconds before the referee actually gets down into the position to count. And then when he does, a 3 count takes a good 5 or 6 seconds to execute. And so, I mean, it's really frustrating in that regard. I mean, tag team matches took me a good while to learn how to master, and I finally figured out that, you know, when you execute a finisher and knock one of your opponents out, what you basically have to do is run over and knock his opponent completely off the apron before pinning him. Otherwise, you're never going to get a pin. So, just because of that fact, the referee is never in position, and, you know, your opponent is always, his partner is always going to come in and make the save. Another thing that I found is because the computers, your opponent's recovery rate is so ridiculously fast, I found it almost impossible to execute moves outside of the ring. You know, if you remember in 2K14, you used to be able to go outside, tear down the announce table, get your guy, your opponent, throw him up on the table and execute a move. Well, like I said, I've had this game for a month and a half, and I have never executed a move off of one of the announce tables, simply because I don't have the time. I can be in an Extreme Rules match and use weapons and completely knock my opponent out, but by the time I go outside, because the wrestler moves so slow as far as disassembling the table, that by the time I finally get the top taken off of it, by the time I get the monitors out, my opponent's recovered and he's outside ready to execute one of his moves on me. So with that, you may have to adjust the sliders. I really didn't want to, because I'm trying to, you know, master it, doing it, you know, a little bit better, or a little I'm trying to master it on a higher difficulty level, than I did last year. One of the other things as far as gameplay is OMG Moments. Last year I thought that was one of the most awesome innovations. If you're not familiar, been under a rock for the last year, OMG Moments in WWE 2K14 range from executing a finisher on top of a Hell in a Cell and busting your opponent through the cell, to having your opponent outside the ring and spearing them through the barricade wall. Now when it comes to WWE 2K15, I had actually read that you could not do OMG Moments, that they had taken it out of the game. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not true. In the month and a half that I've had this game, I just executed them this week. Actually, two of them. One was a Roman Reigns OMG moment outside of the ring, and another I didn't actually execute it. My son did. He executed an OMG moment in a match between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan, and that's not on my channel yet, but I'll upload that just so you have an idea. But I will tell you this: the OMG moments that I've seen in WWE 2K15 pale in comparison to what was on last year's game. I always felt like the OMG moments really created something special. They helped make the game complete last year. And you know, with the way they've done them this year, I mean, when I executed the OMG moment in this game, I really didn't know what the heck I did to execute it. And then when I saw what it wasn't all that great. Like I said, it wasn't anywhere near as good as the ones in 2K14. Another issue that I had was the lack of options as far as creating teams. Things such as entrances and music. I was trying to go through and create a team with Sting and the Ultimate Warrior. The lack of options that I had in there was terrible. I mean, I was left basically I'm either going to choose Sting's material or Ultimate Warriors, or a mix of the two. There wasn't sufficient options like last year in order to make it something worthwhile, something worth doing. So I was not very happy with that. When it comes to options like the Creator Wrestler, which is what a lot of fans like, you're going to be extremely disappointed. It's been stripped down big time from last year. Also, there is no option to create a diva in this game, so the game already starts off with fewer divas than 2K14, so you're stuck with the amount that's in the game. You've got your NXT My Career type thing, where basically you're a wrestler, you create a wrestler, he starts off in NXT, and the goal is to make it to WrestleMania. And that only lasts one season. If you make it, whether you make it or not, at the end of that season, it ends. That one season ends. You've got Universe mode, which is what I'm playing now, which is pretty much your season mode, I guess you could call it. And those are really the major things as far as playing this game. Now, I haven't played online, so I'm not going to comment on that. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about and wrap this video up is the commentary. You know, in match, the commentary on this game is decent. When it comes to replays, it is absolutely atrocious. One, the commentary, you know, Jerry Lawler says the same thing over and over. He says, let's take a look at the replays, and they'll show one scene, and then the next scene will come up and he'll say, alright, now let's go to the highlights. He'll say the same thing. So it's for them to say that, you know, they did extensive recording, audio recording over 2K15, I have to say that it's not evident at all. Also, speaking on replays, when they go to the replays, the only big replays that they show are finishers that are executed in matches, or special moves, signature moves. And even then, you won't see the entire signature move. I've had it where, you know, they're showing some of the footage building up to a finisher, and then right before the finisher they switch and show another move. It's, you know, that to me really defeats the point of having the replays at the end of a match. So in the end, would I recommend getting this game? Well, if you're a casual fan of wrestling games and of wrestling in general, yeah, go ahead and get it. But if you're someone who is really looking for improvements over last year's product, if you're talking about, you know, the realistic and mechanics of the game improving over last year's, I'd say you have better options with 2K14. You have a far larger roster, far greater options when it comes to creating teams and wrestlers in general and arenas. It's just better all around. This might be good for a rental, or, you know, maybe once the prices drop really far on it. But I wouldn't recommend spending $60 plus another $25 for the season pass. The season pass, to me, just isn't worth $25. I don't care what they said. They said there's supposed to be more features coming out. Right now, it's not worth it. I'd say wait a little bit. You know, if they add some more wrestlers, if they add more options and things like that, then maybe we could come back and visit that. But right now, the way it is, no. So let me know what you guys think. If you have this game, if you like it, if you don't like it, what your thoughts are on it. And leave me that info down in the comment section below. And please do continue to watch the videos, to hit that like button, and please do subscribe and share and tell others about it. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.